Handed from three. Hull comes soaring in again. Just uncanny knack. And cashes in.
Is on the upper left wing. Just got inside, circles around, pure effort.
Game 3 didn't feel like basketball. It felt like a robbery in broad daylight. The Indiana Fever built a lead, fought tooth and nail, and then the whistle stole it all away. Suddenly, the Las Vegas Aces were living at the free throw line. Io Wilson threw elbows, Aaliyah Boston's challenges were ignored, and fans in Gamebridge saw it with their own eyes. Social media saw it. The box score proved it. Vegas didn't beat Indiana. The refs handed them that win. And the worst part? It overshadowed Lexie Hull's gritty, career-defining performance. Do you think the Fever can bounce back? If yes, drop a Let's Go Fever in the comments.
A'ja Wilson sets a screen where she extends her leg out, but of course they call the foul on Lexie Hull for A'ja Wilson's illegal screen. Then A'ja Wilson and Alyssa Smith totally foul Michaela Timpson, but there is no call. Could have took a 1-point lead going into half. Now we're up by 3 and they call a foul that isn't a foul. So we don't get calls when we're getting hit, but the Aces get a call when nobody touches anybody.
Ugly? Yes. Surprising? Not at all. This wasn't the first time Indiana had to battle two opponents at once. The Aces and the officiating. From game 1, the whistles leaned toward Vegas, tilting the floor like a crutch. When Indiana played physical, they were punished. When Vegas did the same, whistles stayed silent. By game 2, the pattern wasn't subtle anymore. It was blatant.
Steph, why don't you think you were able to find any flow? And when that was the case, what are you trying to do to jumpstart things, maybe on the defense?
Well, it's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul call every 10 seconds. I mean, it just really is. And when they're at the free throw line, we can't get up and down the floor. And that's a challenge. They were much more aggressive and physical defensively. We didn't counter that with our off-ball actions or with our back cuts. So they took us out of our comfort zone. I mean, offense is about rhythm. It's about timing. It's about spacing. We allowed them to do that, and they kept us from doing it.
By the second game, frustration snowballed into Indiana's rhythm collapsing under constant fouls. Coach Stephanie White even called it out afterward. And by game 3, it wasn't just bad calls. It was a wall the Fever couldn't break through. The nightmare moment came in the third quarter. Aaliyah Boston tried to challenge a foul on Jackie Young, but officials ignored White's request for review. Seconds later, Chelsea Gray drilled a 3. The crowd went from roaring to stunned silence. In a blink, Indy's lead vanished.
A'ja Wilson is 1 for 12 as a foul is called on Boston, and that will be number 2 on Aaliyah Boston.
You saw Indiana picking up full court pressure defensively, and if you're Aaliyah Boston, that's the one spot on the floor you do not want to get a foul call.
And Stephanie White is trying to challenge it and did not call the timeout in time. Gray in the corner. Connect!
But it wasn't just a scoreboard swing. It was a message. Indiana had earned separation, and it was erased by whistles and another Vegas bucket. Fans erupted in outrage. The footage spread online within minutes, showing how that ignored challenge flipped the game. Breakdowns also highlighted Vegas flopping, cheap elbows, and constant pushing, all ignored by refs.
2-minute recap from last night. So A'ja Wilson pushes Howard in the back. Howard pushes her in the back. It's a foul on Howard. Look at this. Aaliyah Boston gets totally fouled by Alyssa Smith. Like, it's obvious, but no call. And then A'ja Wilson gets the call for not half as much. And then Alyssa Smith gets the call for not even getting touched. Here's a replay just to prove it to you. Yep, didn't get touched.
That's why it feels less like oversight and more like favoritism. Io Wilson could shove Boston. Defenders were knocked to ground, and Vegas players swung their arms like weapons. Meanwhile, Indiana's physicality was treated like a crime scene. This was a momentum earned through talent. It was handed to Vegas by referees holding whistles like swords.
Offensive foul, practically a football check, and the Aces score. So now the Aces cut it to 2, and then Asia Wilson sets an illegal screen, and they tied things up. And then Lexie Hull gets called for a foul for doing nothing when they just had 2 illegal screens they didn't call. All right, so this is fair. Same thing happens on the other side, but they don't call a foul for Kelsey Mitchell. So Leah Boston gets called for this foul for getting her arm grabbed, but Stephanie White can't challenge. They won't let her. That's the second time this game they didn't let her have her challenge. And then Asia Wilson starts acting like a big baby.
But one player refused to let Game 3 be defined by bad officiating. Lexie Hull. She wasn't even supposed to be out there. After aggravating her back in Game 1, she entered Friday as questionable. Fans expected a few minutes at best. Instead, she delivered a performance Indiana fans will remember long after the series.
Boston has the mismatch on Lloyd. Help comes. Kick out. Hull will fire. And hit from 3. Last 2 positions inside from Indiana. Smith tied up by Hull. And a jump ball between Smith and Hull.
Playing through pain, Hull produced a stat line that belonged to a healthy star. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, a steal. She shot 6 of 10 from the field, including 3 massive threes that saved Indiana's momentum again and again. She tied a franchise playoff record with 8 threes across 2 games and set her playoff career high in scoring, all while injured. Every loose ball, every rebound, every dive showed a player willing to risk it all.
On the left side of the floor, just to clear out, letting Jackie Young go to work.
Jackie Young with 17 points. Boston to the corner. Hull, catch, fire, and hit. Correct call. Evans dishes. Ray whips a pass inside. What a denial from Lexie Hull.
The Hull able to save the play.
12-point game, a little under 2.5 to go. Hull hits Indiana's first field goal of the quarter.
The cameras caught her face twisted in pain, but she kept boxing out taller Aces players, diving for boards, and then hitting clutch shots. Every time the whistles tried to bury Indiana, Hull pulled them back to life. Fans knew exactly what they were witnessing, grit and sacrifice.
Back to Hull, wide open 3 is good.
The floor that she wants, doesn't it?
It does. Mitchell, connect. Here's Mitchell. Mitchell, one more. You bet.
And yet, that effort was buried under controversy. Instead of celebrating Hull's best playoff game ever, all anyone could talk about was the officiating disaster. Hull became the perfect reflection of this fevered team, beaten down, underestimated, but never giving in. Meanwhile, Aya Wilson, Vegas's MVP, disappeared. She opened with 3, then went ice cold. By halftime, she was 1 for 11. She finished 6 for 20 with just 13 points. A flat-out bad performance.
And then here we go. She gets a foul call with a 3-point game for, I don't know why they called that foul, but it's the 3rd quarter and they want them to win. So here we go. Ace is up by 3. They call another foul for Asia Wilson that isn't a foul. All right, so then they call another foul on the Fever that isn't a foul. And then to end the game after it's out of control because the Fever had a 6-point lead, but they kept calling fouls, another foul for Asia Wilson that's not a foul. Ball don't lie, Asia. You missed 11 shots in a row during this game.
But here's what stings. Despite Wilson's struggles, Vegas still walked away with the win. Jackie Young carried them with 25 points. Chelsea Gray added 15, and role players chipped in enough to ride the officiating wave. And when the media covered it, they glossed over Wilson's 30% shooting and instead credited her all-around impact. What they ignored was the truth. Aaliyah Boston locked her down.
2 as well.
Here's Hull. Working behind Boston. Boston was open. Great take. And Boston lays it in.
Wilson still impacted the game physically, but not in respectable ways. Elbows, undercuts, careless swings, none of it whistled. And then Becky Hammond had the nerve to complain Wilson only shot 1 free throw in 38 minutes. The irony? Vegas lived at the line all series long. Cry about calls when you've had every whistle go your way is laughable.
Thought she got hit a lot tonight. To shoot one free throw in 38 minutes. I know they told me not to say anything, but I can't.
The truth is simple. Indiana bottled up Iowa Wilson. They did their job against the league's best player. But officiating softened the blow and bailed Vegas out. That's not a statement win. It's a protected escape. Now all eyes turn to Gamebridge Fieldhouse for Game 4. For Indiana, it's do or die. Lose, and the season's over. Win, and you rewrite the story.
Sims hoists short. Look at Hull coming screaming in for the rebound. Boston trying to body Wilson and does. Sims back to Boston. Going back to work and dropping it in. An aggressive and effective Aaliyah Boston.
Hammond has already started planting seeds, complaining about Indiana's physicality and hinting refs might lean the other way at Gamebridge. The irony is rich. After 3 Vegas-friendly games, now she's bracing for fair officiating. But Gamebridge won't be quiet. 17,000 Fever fans are ready to turn the arena into a storm. Vegas hasn't handled that kind of atmosphere well all season.
Here's Boston back to Hull. Sets herself up. Mitchell is free. Laying it in. Been a while since Mitchell has gotten a shot attempt. Mitchell will get one here. And hit.
Indiana's plan is clear. Push the tempo, feed Boston inside, and force Wilson to defend without foul bailouts. Kelsey Mitchell has to bounce back from Game 3, and Hull must carry her momentum again. Vegas is cracks. Wilson's confidence is shaky. Jackie Young is carrying too much, and their depth hasn't been tested in this hostile environment. If Indiana presses those weak points, Game 4 changes everything.
On this first half, Young attacking and denied. Timpson on the block. Hull needs some help. Dump it in Boston. Find the cutter. Timpson lays it in.
Indiana didn't lose Game 3. It was stolen. And Game 4 is bigger than survival. It's about exposing how hollow Vegas's wins look when whistles don't save them. If Hull guts it out again, if Mitchell finds her rhythm, if Boston keeps punishing Wilson, Gamebridge will erupt. Add 17,000 fans, and the Fever season isn't over. It's just heating up. Do you believe the Fever can bounce back? If yes, type "Let's Go Fever" in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next update.